Uh, Good morning, friends. Today I'm here to discuss a few issues relating to the judicial interference in election matters and more particularly the constitutional provision which imposes a bar on the interference of courts in the elections, matters pertaining to elections. This issue, in my opinion, has given rise to several conflicting opinions. Basically, they all surround under the interpretation of provisions contained under Article 243O of the Constitution, which pertains to elections to panchayats, and Article 243ZG of the Constitution, which is parameteria, with Article 243O, and but 243ZG deals with the elections to municipalities. Now, both these constitutional provisions, that is 243O and 243ZG, are actually imposes a constitutional bar on the court's interference in election matters. Now, this has led to several debates as regards the power of the court under 226 or the power of the Supreme Court under 32 to its interference in election matters. The core issue being whether the bar imposed under the Constitution would actually affect the basic structure of the Constitution. Well, there have been debates, there have been judgments, there have been conflicting judgments, there have been several judgments which take either of the views. In my opinion, primarily, since the Constitution itself has imposed a bar under 243G, or sorry, 243O, which actually says that no court shall interfere in any matters relating to elections, as well as interfere with regard to any rule or act or a statute pertaining to matters relating to delimitation or allotment of seats as traceable to 243O. Now, some of the courts primarily feel that since a high court is the court of record and the jurisdiction under 226 cannot be ousted, hence the bar contained under 243O or ZG would actually affect the basic structure of the Constitution. In my opinion, though, this has been a raging debate, and the Honorable Supreme Court has till date not given a categorical or a affirmative finding as regards 243O and 243ZG. Though at times the courts have technically barred writs or technically left out the core issue. Now, for a moment, I would also say 243ZG as well as 243O are contained in Part 9A and 9 of the Constitution, which were brought in by an amendment to basically improve the local bodies' democracy relating to local bodies. Now, if you compare 243O as well as 243ZG with Article 243O, 243ZG with Article 329, you will find that they are all parameteria. 329, Article 329 deals with elections to the legislature and the parliament. Now, the Constitution itself contains a categorical bar under 329, which has been simply juxtaposed for elections to panchayats and municipalities. So now Article 329 fell for consideration in several judgments, the most famous one being N.P. Ponnuswamy, which is AR 1952, SC 64. There, the Supreme Court bench comprising of 6 judges were dealing with an issue pertaining to rejection of nomination paper which was challenged in a writ petition before the High Court. The High Court had, of course, denied to exercise its jurisdiction and rejected the writ petition. The Honorable Supreme Court, while considering Article 329, categorically went into the issue to hold that Article 329 started with a non obstante clause which said that notwithstanding anything contained in this constitution. So, what the court went on to hold was 226 was placed earlier to 329, and since 329 started with a non obstante clause saying notwithstanding anything contained in this constitution, hence the court said that since the constitution itself has barred the jurisdiction of courts in election matters, that is any action or any writ to challenge the validity of a law pertaining to delimitation or allotment of seats, as well as any matter pertaining to election matters. So the court went on to hold that Article 329 is like a Great Wall of China. That ended the issue so far as the elections to the parliaments and the legislature. 226 was virtually ruled out. Then an important judgment came in the case of Mohinder Singh Gill. There, the court, yet again, 5 judges of the Honorable Supreme Court referred to Ponnuswamy and upheld the view, or I would say, followed the view of Ponnuswamy, but also gave one another finding. The finding was, no doubt Article 226 is pushed out because of Article 329, but 226 can be exercised only in exceptional circumstances. This, the court also gave an illustration. For example, if elections are declared by the Election Commission and the Election Commissioner gives a general direction in exercise of his powers under 324 to say, asking the returning officers to accept the nomination papers of only one political party and to reject the nomination papers of the candidates belonging to all other political parties, then the court went on to say these are the exceptional situations which can be interfered by Article 226. This settled the issue so far as the bar of courts under 329 and has held the field so long. Strangely, when we come to elections pertaining to panchayats and municipalities, which are local bodies, and the constitution, which the parliament brought in a constitutional amendment by inserting part 9 and part 9a pertaining to panchayats and municipalities, the provisions contained under 324 to 329 were virtually incorporated or brought into as 243K and 243O, 243ZA, 243ZG. All these provisions contain the same prohibition on the exercise of the court's powers in relation to election matters. Unfortunately, in my opinion, from my experience, when it comes to elections to the state assemblies and legislatures, the courts take 2 steps back and refuse to interfere in any of the matters. Strangely, when it comes to elections to panchayats and municipalities, in my opinion, the courts are a little more lenient and do not accept the view of total prohibition. Each court takes a different view. Each bench takes a different view. Some of the benches do not feel that there is a bar, and the normal excuse is any bar imposed on the exercise of powers of the High Court under 226 would affect the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, the general justification for this would be to refer to Keshav Nanda Bharati case and say that the basic structure of the Constitution is affected if courts are barred from entertaining a matter under 226. With great respect, I would disagree with it. What I would say is the courts are exercising its powers under the Constitution. The Constitution itself has given them the power. High Court as well as Supreme Court, which are courts of record, are constituted under the Constitution. The honorable judges take oath under the Constitution. 226 is a power granted under the Constitution. So also 329, 243ZA and 243ZG are powers that are conferred under the Constitution. 243O and 243ZG is a negative power that is imposed, which says that no election to a municipality or a panchayat can be called in question, neither any law, validity of any law relating to delimitation and allotment of seats. Now, if the courts get its power under the Constitution itself can circumscribe the power of the court in relation to matters which the court can exercise. This, with great respect, I would say, is not being agreed to by many of the benches of the High Court. It is always difficult to convince the court that their powers in relation to matters of elections pertaining to panchayats and municipalities, more so with reference to delimitation of seats as well as reservation of seats. Reservation, with great respect, or in my opinion, is nothing but allotment of seat to a constituency. Now, when we say that, the normal rule or the normal reply is Keshavananda Bharati, and if courts are precluded from exercising powers under 226, it affects the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, in this regard, there is one division bench judgment of the Karnataka High Court, which is reported in ILR 1996, Karnataka 1797, which, with great disappointment, I might say, that courts do not follow. In that judgment, the division bench of the Karnataka High Court virtually went into the question of the bar contained under Article 243ZG relating to delimitation of seats, and has relied and has referred to Keshavananda Bharati and has held categorically that the bar imposed under 243ZG does not offend or affect the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, what I find is that most of the courts or most of the benches do not agree with this view. This is leading to a predicament when it comes to elections to panchayats and municipalities, and many a times these get stuck in litigations. In my opinion, the view of Ponnuswamy, reiterated in Mohinder Singh Gill case, should be parameteria followed insofar as elections to panchayats as well as municipalities. That is one view. Now we come to yet another judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court in the classical case known as Meghraj Kothari, which is reported in AR 1967-669. Now the court yet again went into the issue relating to delimitation of constituencies relating to parliaments. Now there, the court yet again relied upon 329 and held any law relating to delimitation cannot be challenged in a court of law. Now this is another classical case where the court held 226 cannot come, or 226 stands pushed out because of 329. If that is the categorical view of the Supreme Court, now one ponders or one wonders how, to a particular situation or a peculiar situation, the courts hold 226 stands pushed out, but when it comes to another situation where a constitution bar is imposed, particularly in relation to panchayats and municipalities, the court holds no, 226 does not get pushed out. This is a point to ponder, this is a point to wonder also. Now there are several other judgments which relates to the constitutional bar imposed on the court's power. Now court's power, as I said earlier, is granted under the Constitution. Now why the court should feel offended when its powers are circumscribed by the Constitution itself? After all, the court is an authority which came about through the constitution, and the courts must actually obey and follow the constitution. That is my view. Now, a, our counter argument is always canvassed by referring to the judgment of Chandrakumar case, where the Supreme Court considered the the powers of the statute which ousted the jurisdiction of high courts under 226, but an appeal from an administrative tribunal was granted to the Supreme Court. Now, in this regard, I may also say that the administrative tribunals were constituted by virtue of Article 323A of the Constitution. Now, if you read Article 323A, subclause 2, subclause D contained therein, it would make it very clear that the Constitution, when it came to 323A, that is the Constitution of Tribunals, the Constitution by itself did not impose any prohibition on the exercise of the court's power. What it did was it granted the power to the parliament or the state legislatures to impose a prohibition or to impose a restriction on the court's power to interfere in certain matters. This, if you compare 323A to D with 329 or 243, 243O or 243ZG, one can make out a categorical difference or a classical difference where a statute or the constitution itself imposes a bar on the court's power to interfere in election matters, while the constitution granted the power under a statute putting restrictions on the powers of the court insofar as it related to administrative tribunals. Now, this is an issue which I have been repeatedly been canvassing before the courts to put forth my point that 243ZG and 243O must be given the same kind of importance and the same interpretation as has been given to Article 329. Unfortunately, in most of the election matters, in my experience, what I find is many of these cases get sorted out either in the interim stage and never in the final stage. When it comes to a final stage, either because of certain interim orders, elections would have been conducted, and then the court would feel difficult to deal in an academic matter. So this issue has remained unsorted or non-sorted because of several constraints. Now, in one of the matters which went up to the Honorable Supreme Court, these were the particular issues which were canvassed before the Honorable Supreme Court in a matter known as Yatish Kumar. Unfortunately, when the matter came up for hearing, the state government took out a stand that they would amend the statute itself regarding certain reservation of seats. The Supreme Court did not go into the issues of questions of law relating to the court's power to interfere in election matters pertaining to panchayats with reference to Article 243O, though in my opinion it would have been an interesting case for or a matter for study. One should not feel shy that the court's doors are shut because of certain prohibitions. The Constitution itself, has the makers of the Constitution felt the need that the elections should go on uninterrupted without any delay, and certain issues should be left to be canvassed or considered, contested, or adjudicated in a forum separately formed after the elections are over. This is the view. This was with the view to ensure that elections are held in a timely and periodical manner without any delay. If the courts start to interfere under 226, then the question of delay arises. Now, please visualize another situation which I would like to bring about. When it comes to rejection of nomination paper, as in Ponnuswamy case, the court held writ petitions are not maintainable 220, 329 is like a Great Wall of China. Now, when it comes to some other issue relating to delimitation or allotment of seats, is it not the same criteria that has to be adopted? Can it be said or can it be held that basic structure of the constitution does not get affected when it comes to a writ petition or a matter relating to rejection of a nomination paper, whereas when it comes to the validity of reservations or a validity of a law relating to delimitation or allotment of seats, that the gates get open. Point to ponder, point to wonder. We need to worry about these things. There are several judgments in this regard. The division benches of our High Court in 2011, Volume 3, KLJ 32, has also held that if a validity of a law pertaining to allotment of seats is questioned, then the doors of 226 gets closed. Well, but that, in my experience, several honorable judges find it hard to digest, and on the sole ground that it affects the basic structure of the constitution. So also, I would at this regard say that there is yet another judgment of the division bench of the Karnataka High Court reported in 2008, Volume 1, KLJ 23, which also categorically holds that there cannot be any interference by courts in election matters, more so after the issuance of calendar of events. Now, this also does not affect the basic structure of the constitution. If that be so, why should the courts interfere when it comes to matters relating to allotment of seats? Allotment of seats are nothing but reservation notifications issued purportedly under Article 243K, read with the statutes framed under Part 9 and Part 9A of the Constitution, that is, for panchayats and municipalities, either delimitation or reservation of seats. These points hopefully will get settled someday in the future, maybe not to the liking of several advocates or lawyers like us, but one has to see that elections get going without any delay, and that ultimately what is said in the constitution is not violated, and we strictly follow the constitutional mandate. Thank you. Thank you very much.